80-year-old Margaret Reed had walked the same forest trail for most of her life. The path winding through towering oaks and whispering pines was as familiar to her as the streets of her own neighborhood. Her faithful terrier, Rusty, usually trotted happily beside her, nose to the ground, tail wagging. But on that crisp autumn morning, something unusual happened. As they approached a massive ancient oak, Rusty stopped dead in his tracks. He began whining softly, pawing at the base of the tree. Curious, Margaret stepped closer, and that's when she saw it. Half hidden in the thick bark was a tiny rusted metal door, no taller than her knee, with an old corroded padlock securing it shut. She blinked in disbelief. In all her 50 years of walking these woods, she had never noticed such a thing. Her heart quickened. Who would build a door into a tree? And why? Margaret tugged gently on the lock, but it wouldn't budge. She felt a shiver of unease, but also a stubborn determination. Whatever was inside, she needed to know. Hurrying back to her cottage, Margaret fetched her heavy bolt cutters from the garage workshop. Rusty barked excitedly as she returned to the oak. With a sharp snap, the ancient padlock gave way. Taking a deep breath, Margaret pulled the creaking door open. At first, all she saw was darkness. The hollow inside smelled of dust, mildew, and time long forgotten. Cobwebs clung to the edges like curtains. But as her eyes adjusted, Margaret's breath caught in her throat. Inside the hollow trunk stood a small weathered tombstone shaped like a teddy bear. Around it lay the fragile remains of children's toys, a faded doll with no eyes, a rusted toy car, scraps of ribbon, and what might have once been a storybook. Margaret froze, tears welling in her eyes. The sight struck her with overwhelming sorrow. She sank to her knees, clutching Rusty close as silent sobs shook her. Later, unable to rest without answers, Margaret dug into the history of the area. Old records and whispered stories from longtime residents revealed the heartbreaking truth. Decades ago, a young child had drowned in the nearby creek. The grieving parents, unable to bear the thought of a cold cemetery, had created a secret memorial beneath the oak where their child once played. They buried the little body at its roots, marking the spot with toys and the teddy bear stone, sealing it behind the tiny door as a sacred remembrance. Margaret's tears returned when she realized she had broken into what was never meant to be disturbed. The very next day, she returned with fresh flowers, a candle, and a brand new lock. After carefully placing the offerings at the base of the tree, she whispered a soft apology and resecured the little door. From that day on, whenever Margaret walked past the ancient oak, she paused. Sometimes she left flowers, sometimes just a prayer, but always with the same quiet respect for the secret of the oak and for the little soul resting within.